Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be discussing all about drugstore sponges, specifically my top 5, and I just want to share with you guys because I feel like it's important to discuss the fact that this little guy right here is not your best option anymore. I'm going to be discussing the density of the sponge, how soft it feels, prices, and I'm also going to show you the comparison to the beauty blender. I'm going to show you clips of where I show you the beauty blender dry, and then I dampen it, and then I show you how big it gets, and then I compare it to all of them dry, and then when they get bigger, just so you can see like the comparison to get you an idea how big they are. I'm not against the beauty blender by any means. I just like to save money. So if you're interested, then make sure you keep on watching. Honestly, like when I was comparing these to the beauty blender, I was like, dude, the beauty blender is super small. Like what is up with that? It still remains everybody's like favorite sponge, but in my personal opinion, when I first tried the Real Technique sponge, and then I tried the beauty blender, and I gotta say I wasn't impressed. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot more sponges now that do the job of the beauty blender and do it even better. But all personal preference. So hopefully one of these fit what you're looking for in a sponge, because they are all different. As you can see, it doesn't really expand all that much here. Okay, so I'm gonna first start off with, I feel like it's the cheapest sponge that I'm gonna be discussing today, but it's also my least favorite one, but still remains my top 5, like in my top 5. Okay, so again, this is the Equal Tools Perfecting Blender. This retails for $3.69, which I don't remember it being this cheap. And I gotta say, I feel like this sponge blends out the concealer so perfectly, and I feel like it's because of the shape. And as you can see, it's not that dense. It's pretty soft, I would say. Okay, I feel like this is bouncier than the, I don't know, like I honestly get so tired of blending my foundation with like a beauty blender. However, I do feel like this sponge does absorb quite a lot of product, but again, it is the cheapest alternative that we have. Went to go wash it, this one, for the first time. I saw how like cheap the material was. It's still good, don't get me wrong. I mean, a sixth of the price of this one, so I mean, will you be buying this one more frequently? Probably, but I just really like it for blending out my concealer. I feel like the shape of it is very, very convenient. I just wish the material of this sponge was a little bit better, more high quality, but then again, it is the cheapest one, so I don't expect it to be, you know, like I do alternate from all of my sponges. Would I repurchase this? Yes, I would, because it's so cheap and because it is good. It's just it doesn't last me as long as I wish it would. So there is that. And then moving on to the very famous Real Technique sponge. I honestly, like, since I started doing my makeup, like I always used a Real Technique sponge, and I feel like it's better than the beauty blender in my opinion. The quality, of course, of this one is a lot lower than the beauty blender. Like the beauty blender has really good quality, and I feel like that's what justifies its price. But I actually like how other sponges perform better, but that's just like in my opinion. And I gotta say, like when I first bought the Real Technique sponge, I feel like it lasted me like a really long time, and now like I feel like I have to buy it more consistently because it rips on me so easily, but not as bad as this Eco Tools one. So the Real Techniques one, there's like places that sells 2 for $10. I saw it at Walmart for like $4.89, so it's still very, very, very affordable. It's like a fourth of the price of this one. And I just gotta say, I like the shape of this better because you could really get really precise here. And then like if you prefer to use this side, like the bigger side, to blend out all of your face. I personally never use the pointy side, but I know a lot of people like it to get really precise for their concealer, but I feel like this side just does that for me, you know, just like I just gotta pinch it and really do it. The density of this is really soft, too, but I feel like this one is a lot more dense than the Beauty Blender, like a lot more dense. Like the Beauty Blender is so much more squishy. This would be like my 4th on the list. And speaking of which, I wanted to do like a bonus. I'm sure you guys have seen this around YouTube, like everybody's using this now. I mean, this is like on steroids. I mean, good. Okay, great. See the huge difference, huge. But I love this sponge for when I like have to get ready as soon as possible. Like I'm just like, okay, 2 minutes, bye, my foundation is blended. And I just love it, dude. Like I am getting into like really big sponges. Like I think they're so much fun. It's so easy to blend everything out. Like your concealer blends in like 1 second. It's just amazing. It's just another alternative. I feel like the material is the same, and I feel like this one will last you a lot longer because you're not like constantly just bouncing it around your face. You know what I mean? So I have not yet to prove that it lasts longer than this one, but I feel like it would. I mean, it only makes sense. But yeah, this one retails for $7.89, I believe. I love it. I've been reaching for this one quite a lot more than this one, just saying. So that would be like, that's just like a bonus with the Real Techniques. It's just like 2-in-1, but I just wanted to make sure, give a shout out to that humongous body spa. I'm going from like my least favorite to my most, like the real deal. This is the Flower Beauty Sponge. This is like a brand new one because I was gonna show you like the one I had, and then I like realized how worn out it was. So the downside to this is that like this iridescent pretty lilac, it is gonna fade away within like maybe 10 uses of the sponge. You won't notice it until like you buy a new one because like, dude, like my other one is like horrible. That's pretty bad. Okay, so this one you can only get at Walmart. I was trying to find it at Ulta, but on their website it doesn't show it. Maybe in the future they will get this little sponge, this little guy. This is the Flower Ultimate 3-in-1 Blending Sponge, and this retails for $8.98. I feel like this is like the most expensive sponge that I'm going to be talking about, which is one of the reasons why it is on like the 3rd place, because I really love how soft it is, but I'm just not a big fan of the shape. Sure, I like this butt to just, you know, blend out my foundation, but I just find it so hard to like get around to blend my concealer. Like I personally like a really flat and big surface to blend that out. But if you like soft sponges, I highly recommend this. One because it's so good, so soft, and I feel like the quality is here. Like the other one, even though it's faded, it's never ripped on me, even though I like constantly always wash that one too. So yeah, I feel like the quality is there. So I feel like that's why it's pretty up there with the price. Still half the size. I mean, not half the size. Half the price of the Beauty Blender. And it's just the shape kind of throws me off. Like I appreciate that they put this like specifically to blend out your concealer, but for me it doesn't work. Like I need something bigger than this. But I mean, if you've worked with sponges like this before, or where they don't have the surface at all and you just use it and you like these like chubby surfaces, then I think this might be a great fit for you. It just depends what you're looking for in a sponge. That's why I'm showing you 5 different ones and I'm just like talking about my favorite type. This is a type, okay? But I'll talk about this before. So this is a Sonia Kashuk sponge. You can only get this at Target, and this retails for $7. But I mean, look at this humongous guy too. Like And then if you want to see it in comparison to like the big Real Technique sponge, I mean, this one's still humongous, but it's pretty up there. I just love the colors of it. I mean, the design is beautiful. I love that this is flat because you could just so easily. I love that, you know, it's so easy. It's because this sponge is very similar to the Flower Beauty one. If you've ever tried the Flower Beauty one and you love the consistency and the density of that one, oh my god. Like, this one is so freaking soft. I love how soft this sponge, this little guy is. So because it's so soft, I could really get into my concealer. So I love everything about this guy. It's big enough to where, you know, you don't have to spend so much time blending your foundation. It's just, I am in love with this guy. You guys have to go and pick it up. I also saw that they had a package where it was 2 of these for $10, so definitely get that instead of like 1 for $7, you know, 2 for 10. We love deals. I also forgot to mention that I think the material of this is very, because it's so soft, like it's harder for you to like yank it and like rip it, like in comparison to the Real Techniques that is not so soft. So it's like easier for you to like rip it, you know what I mean? So I have like no rips in like this Sonia Kashuk sponge. And my number 1 sponge like ever is a Maybelline Facestudio Master Blender. It is a master. It retails for $4.49 at Target. So yeah, I love this guy. The quality of this, like the material of it, is so different from all of these sponges. Like, it's just, this almost reminds me of like a dishwash like little sponge. You know how like they have like bigger holes? Like, that's how this one is. And not that there's nothing wrong with that, I actually prefer that because it's so easy to clean this sponge. I just love it because, for example, like this sponge is very dense, but it's still like squishy enough. Like, it's not like hard, like it's not gonna bounce on your skin and like hit you and feel like a rock. Like, no, nothing like that. But this sponge still gives me like that, like hydrate, you know, like sponges do essentially kind of sheer out your foundation, but I feel like this one gives me like the most full coverage that any other beauty sponge has ever given me because of the density and the material of it. Like, because it's kind of dense, like it gives you like that full coverage, but once you start like just working it into your skin, I just love how this is just so magical, and the shape of it is just genius. Like, you have this to blend out your foundation, and then this beautiful shape, genius shape, to really get underneath your under eye, to bake, to, you know, oh my god, like you could do everything with this sponge and like not struggle. It's so easy to use. I love it, especially if you're like a beginner. I highly recommend this. The beauty blender is so small compared to all these. It's crazy, but yeah, this is like my number 1 that I highly recommend. And I feel like because of the material of this, like it'll last you a pretty long time, and again, it's like a 1/4 of the price, which I love. So yeah, hopefully this video was informative enough. I tried to explain and to give you as much details about the sponge as possible, but if you have any questions, of course, just ask me in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have about any sponge, any details that I didn't cover. I mean, I tried to like be mindful of everything that you might want to know about a sponge, of what I would want to know about a sponge that you're obviously recommending, right? Repurchase some of these and really pass on the beauty blender because, I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. It's just, I feel like it's so small, like, which if you think about it, like small is good because you could get really precise in like areas that you may not be able to, like, you know, reach with other bigger sponges, which I understand, but I just feel like it takes me so long to blend out my foundation, and that is sometimes so annoying to me because I'm like blending out my concealer and like my hand is super sore, you know, but I may be just like really weak. But I mean, I don't know, it's like personal preference, because I know people have tried like other sponges before and they still go back to the beauty blender. So I don't know what it is. Like, to me, I feel like it's so dry. Like, it dries out so quick to me. Like, it doesn't stay dampened like for a good amount of time. So yeah, I mean, the fun part is that all of these are drugstore and all of these are just as good, and I feel like even better than the beauty blender. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully you go and buy a beauty sponge more affordable than the beauty blender. And hopefully you like it just as much as I do. And yeah, if you found this video helpful, informative, you liked it, you don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. And hopefully I can see you on the next one. Bye.